let's look at some elevations and depressions. So these are going to be more of our real world applications of how we're going to use our trig functions, how we can use our trig functions when figuring out our angles of elevation and angles of depression. So let's start with angles of elevation. So this is when we are looking up to an object. The angle of elevation is formed by the observer's line of sight, where you're looking up at, and a horizontal line. So you can see that these two, the line of sight and the horizontal line to where that object is, creates that 90-degree angle here and creates our right triangle. So our trig functions apply. This one's a little bit easy to see because it's going to be your line of sight when you're looking up, and then this would be kind of like your line of sight if you're just looking straight, and your object is going to be that other side. So the angle of elevation from a kicker's foot on the football field. So we're on a football field, and the angle of elevation from the kicker's foot is 17 degrees. Be standing 131 feet from the goal post. So here's the goal. So the ground and the goal post would create that 90-degree angle. How tall is the goal post? We want to know how tall is it. So what this is saying is that the angle of elevation from his foot to the top of the goal. So we want to know top of the goal. From his foot on the ground to the goal is 131 feet. Okay, so we're going to do it. Let's see, we're solving for the side. So if you flip back to your notes, that is these that say finding side. So we're going to highlight the angle given, 17. This one right here, right? Identify the side that's given. The angle, the side that's opposite the 90-degree angle is our hypotenuse. We don't know anything about that. So we know this side is next to the angle, so that's adjacent. Identify our missing side. That is across from the angle, so it is opposite. Decide which trig function to use. We've got opposite and adjacent, tangent. So, and then finally set up and solve. So tangent of 17 equals opposite over adjacent. Okay, now we're going to solve it just like we were. We're going to get x by itself, and then we'll plug into the calculator. It's being divided by 131, so I multiply by 131. 131 times tangent of 17 equals x. Again, remember to have your calculator in degrees, and then you can plug it in. So 40.1 feet equals x. This goalpost, what was the answer? The question? How tall is the goalpost? The goalpost is 40.1 feet tall. All right. So angles of depression, this is what they're generally going to look like. And you solve them just like we're solving. So probably should draw a picture and flip back to your other notes for our how to solve our trig functions. All right, our angles of depression are when we're looking down to an object. Then the angle of depression is formed by the observer's line of sight and again a horizontal line. So you can see this little example, and that kind of follows this example of this lifeguard looking down at the swimmer. So that's his line of sight. But it's not creating this angle, it's creating this angle. because it's the with the horizontal line. And we know that this horizontal line is the same as this horizontal line. So we know something about the angle here. That's going to be the same. So then this is our right triangle, and this is going to be the angle we're talking about this time. All right, let's look at it. Lifeguard is sitting on a platform looking down at the swimmer. If the lifeguard's line of sight is 8 feet above the ground, so here's our ground. He's sitting up here at 8 feet. And the angle of depression to the swimmer is 18. So here's his line of sight. And this is 18 degrees. How far away is the swimmer from the lifeguard? So if this angle right here, because we've got two parallel lines cut by a transversal, if this is 18, this one is 18. So this is our angle. And what sides do we have? This one that's next to it, that's not the hypotenuse, is our adjacent. Across is opposite. Which function uses our opposite and adjacent? That again is tangent. Tangent of 18 degrees equals 8 over x. Okay. Solve for x. Multiply x tangent of 18 equals 8. Divide by tan of 18. X equals what? 8 divided by tan of 18 is 24.6 feet. So the swimmer and the lifeguard are 24.6 feet apart. All right, let me know if you have any questions setting these up.